right, we're live.
Hey, everybody, it's Dale Jr. This is the Ask Junior portion of the show for the Dale Jr. Download. Thanks for tuning in. This is our first show of the season, and we're excited to be back in the studio and looking forward to an awesome year. We got a great guest for our first show. Larry Mack comes back to the desk to tell us a little bit about the 1998 Daytona 500. Please, you'll want to hear what he has to say. It's pretty awesome stuff. But let's get right to it. You guys got some great questions. Leah's going to tee them all up.
Yep, our first question's coming in from Tim Pendergrass. He wants to know who gets their first win this year and who might surprise everyone with a breakout year.
Well, I feel like when who gets their first win this year? God, that's hard to say. I wouldn't be surprised if Tyler Reddick pulls one off. RCR had some speed at the end of last year, a shocking speed, really, to be honest with you, with Austin Dillon when they were going in the playoffs. So maybe Reddick. And I don't know if it would surprise anybody if Larson has this incredible year and makes it all the way into the Final Four, but he's a guy that I would not really be surprised if he has just – it might be a little lukewarm to start the season because he's got to get his legs again. I don't care what sport you're in. If this is the elite level, right? So if you take a year off and come right back in, there's a bit of a period where you just got to get yourself back in shape and get mentally conditioned for what's happening on the racetrack. But I think once he does that, whether that takes a week, a month, whatever, I think that he can position himself into a great run into the playoffs and be a guy that be hard to beat. Plus, with the success that the 9-car had, Chase Elliott, to lean on his teammate, their ability to be a championship team, I think Larson will be pretty tough this year.
Jared Rector wants to know, what are your thoughts on the state of the charter system?
It's working as designed. The state of the charter system. I hope they don't add more. I know that there's growing demand for charters, which I think is great. There's teams that are still out there positioning to buy them, and that's good. You want that. That's going to increase the value of the charters over time. And I don't mind the charter system. The only thing that I wish we could get back to is having a little bit more of a battle in the duels for the Daytona 500 over who's going to race their way in. Right now, there's 4 spots available to the open cars going into Daytona. 2, I think, are taking on time, and the other 2 are taking on the results of their finish in the duel. Right? Even if those 4 alone, if there's only 4 open spots, then and they have to race their way through the duel, that's still not very compelling. I loved it when the duel had a little bit more impact on who was going to make the race and how they were going to, who was going to make it and who was going to miss it. With the charters, there's so many people guaranteed that the open spots, there's so few, and that is a less compelling sort of.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So I wish that, if anything, there were maybe less charters in the sport. I think that the charter system is a good system, and I think that it's good to have some value in your team. Because before charters were here, if I wanted to sell my race team, how do you put a value on it? You can't. Obviously, there's parts and pieces, but that stuff's going for pennies on the dollar. What NASCAR did was create a value for an owner, tangible value over what it means to be in the sport and have a guaranteed position in the sport, a locked-in spot to start these races. And so those things obviously immediately gave millions of dollars of value to the team's position in the sport, that's a good thing for owners. And but they certainly, there's plenty of charters. If anything, they could take a few away and have a few more guys racing in to each of these races, qualifying into each of these races, and create a little bit more compelling of a story for these newer teams coming in and some of these other teams that are struggling to survive.
We have a fan, Alan Yoder. He's going to attend his first NASCAR race during the Pocono doubleheader weekend, and he also got a NASCAR ride-along for Christmas at Pocono. So he wants to know, what is it like going around there? What can he expect?
What track?
Pocono.
Very long straightaways. Obviously, the longest straightaway in the series on the front straightaway at Pocono. Very flat corners, and it's going to be scary and exciting. The tunnel turn is one of the most terrifying experiences as a driver. There's not, drivers are kind of macho and, oh man, I'm not scared of nothing, and I drive cars fast and I'm just made for this. But the tunnel turn gets everybody's attention, whether they'll admit it or not. They're white knuckled through there just about every time you go through it. You never come up on the tunnel turn and go, I know exactly what to do.
That's interesting.
You never go through there and say, that was perfect, and I'm going to go and repeat that the next time by. It's not possible. It's one of them kind of corners where you just never end up where you wanted to. You never do it exactly the way it seems to play out in your mind. It's a very hairy experience to drive through. So hopefully you feel that when you're out there and going through your experience.
Our next question coming from Rob watching live on YouTube. What's the best new paint scheme for 2021 that you've seen? Anything stick out to you?
Yeah, there were one or two. I forget. Dadgummit. That's going to bother me. I don't know. I need to see them on the racetrack. You get them you get pictures of cars and you see them in photo shoots and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I've experienced this myself. You get it on paper, it looks great. Even if you have a virtual 3D on a computer screen, you're like, man, that's cool. People are gonna love this. It doesn't. It still has to pass the grade when it's on the racetrack. If you're watching it from the grandstands or you're watching it from the TV screen, a lot of times, the color and position, the color, position, lettering of the sponsor, the number, all that looks great on paper, but can get lost and disappear on the racetrack or be hard to read. Your car can be hard to pick out of a crowd. I've had red fans comments about that pertaining to our different paint schemes we had over the years. So I kind of like to see them in action. But I haven't really seen one that I don't like, I guess, so far.
We have people chiming in saying the Trackhouse cars look good.
They are.
Christopher Bell's
Yep.
and William Byron's Exalta.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good
Yep.
looking car.
Yeah.
Byron's one, yeah. I don't remember what the Trackhouse car looks like.
I don't either.
But
Lots of colors.
I'm going to tell you whose car looks good as Allgaier's.
I thought,
It looks fast out there.
yeah.
Allgaier's.
I liked Bowman's car. They made some minor adjustments to that design, and I thought it was pretty cool, some of the graphic on Bowman's car. I don't think I liked that 24 car as much
I
as
did.
everybody else. You did?
Yeah, I liked it.
I don't think I did. I don't remember. I think it was the 24.
It was loud, right? That was one with all the...
Well, yeah, but that's why he wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
I like them clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've had a few that were pretty crazy.
Billy D, with Denny being an owner now as well, will that give him any distractions, or can drivers turn off that switch?
Yeah, I mean, when he's in the car, it's not going to bother him. When he's out there on the racetrack, it's not going to be a distraction at all. But the only thing that he's absolutely going to have more stuff on his plate. He's absolutely going to have. It's tough. It's being on the. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say that. Man, it's going to be a breeze. It's going to be tough. Like being an owner is a difficult job on its own. You couple that with also being a driver for a different car and different company. I know there's a relationship there between Gibbs and his team, but he's got to worry about the performance of his team and his his performance as a driver and have all those same exact concerns for a whole nother race car as the owner, right? And people are gonna, all those people in the company are gonna look to him as like, hey man, you know, where are we headed? What are we doing? What's the next step? You know, so he's gonna have to answer to those people and direct and steer the organization throughout the years, but also, you know, continue the success he wants to have as a driver. It will be a big challenge for anybody in that position. I can't imagine trying to tackle that, but I think he can do it and be successful at it. But it is going to take – he is going to be a busy boy.
And he's is there anybody else in that ownership group other than he and Michael Jordan? I think there probably is, but he's legitimately running the race.
I feel
part
like
of
that, you know, now I feel like that Denny's going to really have some people he can trust that are in the day-to-day, much like, you know, Kelly is hands-on day-to-day at Junior Motorsports. I can literally not touch a dial or touch a switch here for weeks and it not have a negative effect, right? Mm-hmm. And I think Denny can put himself in that same situation to where if he really had to dig into the driving side of it in that 11 car and spend real time there for period, you know, for days at a time, that he's going to have the right people in place to help him run his race team. I'm just saying he is going to his mind. Oh man, his mind's gonna be running 100 mile an hour. It probably already has been. Him trying to win his championship and all those things, but man, he is not going to have a minute to rest.
Sure. I mean, like, even if you're not doing the day-to-day, you still have the pressure of being responsible for X number of employees. Yeah. You have basically incurred all their problems. I mean, like, legitimately. If Kelly, even though Kelly runs the day-to-day, if somebody fails a drug test, then you know what? She's got to tell you about it. Or if somebody, not that we've had that, I'm just saying, hypothetically. Or if there's a social media post that all of a sudden we're catching grief on and it's affecting our brand, you got to know about it. These things, I mean, like, yeah. You don't have to run the day-to-day to have to feel the pressure and the responsibility.
Yep.
All
That's
right.
a good question.
Last question from Patrick. Did you pick up any new hobbies or revisit any old ones during the off season?
I sim raced a lot and still enjoy that. Started playing some first person shooter, which usually I just stick right to playing, you know, to iRacing and racing online. But I started playing another video game. That to me was that's different for me. I usually don't do that. I kind of felt
I don't
like
know how you get away with it. You just got a new kid.
Well,
how do you do that?
All right, here's my schedule. It's a great question, Mike. Here's my schedule. Y'all want to know my schedule?
Let's hear it.
All right, we all get up when it's time to get up, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Isla I'm kind of responsible for Isla for the most part, and Amy is responsible for Nicole. Isla naps around 2 to 4. I usually won't jump on the computer then because Nicole might be up and down, and I just feel bad if I go in there and play video games while Amy's dealing with that.
Right.
So I just kind of I just kind of hang around and support emotionally while Isla's napping. And then Isla goes to sleep around 8:30. So I'll get her teeth brushed, make sure she uses the restroom, and then put her down, read her book. And when she goes to bed, Amy's already put Nicole to bed around 8, and Amy goes to bed when Nicole goes to bed.
Absolutely.
So I'm left to do whatever I want.
That's how it works. I got it.
So I get on the computer around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and race till around midnight and go to bed. Repeat every day. That's what I've been doing for the last, like, literally month.
I got you.
Every day. That's been the...
You're taking Amy to school. Isla to school now.
I took Isla to school this morning.
Yeah.
I just was texting Amy if I needed to go pick her up.
I got you.
Yeah.
Was that difficult the first time?
I need to be in the line in 1 hour.
You and I talked about this. Was it difficult the first time you had to drop her off?
Yeah. So, of course, she didn't like it, didn't want to go, was scared. Like, what is this? who are these people? Literally 2 days at school, and she was over it. She was fine. She was like excited to go. She's happy to get out of the car, jumps out of the car, and runs right on in there.
That's nice. That was the first day. The first drop off, I remember. Yeah. Like, it was awful.
Yeah.
Good questions. Right out
Me
of
and
the
you,
gate.
yeah. I had a great. Speaking of Isla, I had a great one. I had the first meet me at the door coming home from a trip yesterday.
Oh, all right, because we were on our project.
Me and you went and worked on a project yesterday.
Yeah.
And when I got home, she was standing at the door like, "Daddy!"
That's nice.
the first time that she's ever done that.
No, when you and I showed up to your house a week ago, she came running to you still, but it wasn't right at the door though.
This one was standing at the
That's
door.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Made your day, didn't it?
Day
I thought you probably hanging out with me made your day, but no, it's actually got better, didn't it?
Yeah. All right, everybody. I appreciate you guys sending in those questions. Again, we're kicking the season off. Looking forward to bringing you guys a lot of great content here at Dirty Mo Media. We appreciate y'all's support.